Buenas noches todos, bienvenidos todos to our night of tango. So you heard a piece by Astor Piazzolla, a name you all know. You may even know that piece. It was written about a nightclub, a very hot nightclub in Buenos Aires in 1970. You can hear that pulsing beat throughout. And the next piece was written in 1921. And probably no one here knows that piece because hardly anyone plays it in a combination like this on a concert stage. Now, why is that? Astor Piazzolla wrote parts for musicians. So if you order a Piazzolla piece, you'll get a piano part, a guitar part, a violin part, whatever the instrumentation for that piece is. And so if you're a classical musician, you can take that music and you can play it. You can make it your own. Maybe you can exchange some of the players for other instruments, but basically you're playing Piazzolla's music. But in Zorro Gris, in that period in the 1920s, they didn't write parts out for people. They expected them to be making them up. Or if they were played by an orchestra, a famous orchestra, as happened in the 1940s, there would be an arrangement that was made for that orchestra, and it would be very typical sound of that group. Sort of like we had Glenn Miller, and then we had other orchestras. Each one of these orchestras had a different sound, but nobody shared those parts. So if you want to play this piece, you have to do what we did. You have to find an arranger in Buenos Aires, and he writes out the music and send us the parts. So just a little idea of why there aren't 500 tango groups on this stage because it's very hard to come by the music. Our next piece is actually a piece that we are fortunate to have because one way you get music in your group is you have a composer, and we are very lucky to have two wonderful composers. So our next piece, Gota de Aire, I have to tell you just a little story before we start, and that is that in August of the pandemic year, we actually went to Richmond, Indiana on a Chamber Music America residency. And one of the places that we played was the high school. Now these kids had been out of school for a year and a half, and all of a sudden, this was the first time they'd been in the auditorium, and this group of tangueros stands up on the stage in front of them. They don't know what to think. They're just like, whoa. They're staring at the floor. They're, no eye contact. We were up there giving it our all and thinking, woof, this is a pretty tough audience. But we did our best. And the next morning, as part of our residency, we played at the farmer's market. So we're standing at the farmer's market with all the vegetables. And there are 4 girls standing in front of us, arm in arm, and they stand there like this. The whole hour that we played, they never moved. And at the end, I went up to them and I said, "Hi, girls. Were you by any chance at the high school when we played yesterday?" "Yes, we were." "Did you have a good time?" "Yes, we did." One of them said, "Could I ask you something personal?" "Sure, go ahead." "Do you ever get goosebumps when you play that song about the breakup?" Because that's how we always introduced our next piece. This is the breakup song. Our bandoneon player broke up with somebody and he wrote this song. And she said, "Because when I heard that song, I sure got goosebumps." Now, if you can give goosebumps to a high school student, I think our composer's pretty terrific. You need to know who this wonderful singer is, our bass player. She used to live in Alexandria, Virginia with me, but she moved to Austin, Texas, so she could be a singer-songwriter. And she has her own group, Allie and the Wild Geese, coming out with a CD later this year. And this, Dance Me to the End of Love, is the featured track on our CD that came out last week, called Luna, which is out in the other room at the end of the concert. But, so I want you all to give a big hand to Allie Cook. Now, sitting behind the piano is this marvelous, marvelous pianist from Argentina, now living in Baltimore. We're so happy to have him with us. Agustín Muriago. Agustín, so people can see you. And on my right is the wonderful, wonderful violinist who now lives in DC but began his life in the Philippines. He is on everybody's first call list in DC, so we're very, very glad that he's playing with us on this tour and other times. Regino Madrid. And our composer in residence, and the man who gets the prize for the best jacket in the house, for sure. From Argentina, Emmanuel Trifilio. And my name's Joan Singer. So our group, and tango actually, is a community. And it's what brought people together when they were immigrants to Buenos Aires and nobody knew the same language, and they were all homesick, and they had to get together and figure out how to communicate, and they started playing this music, a little Italian opera, a little German accordion playing maybe, a flute player. It just, somehow it all magically came together. And that sense of community is something that is an integral part of everything that we do. Building community is what music does so, so well. So during the pandemic, when we were all trying to figure out what to do, remember those days? They seem kind of far away, but I know every one of you was going through exactly the same thing that we were. I mean, how do we play music? We can't get in the same room. How do we keep going? And how do we keep in touch with all of our fans that we love so much? So Emmanuel started taking commissions for tangos. And people would send him requests, and he would talk with them and find out a little bit about their stories. And our next piece is a tango that was requested by a very dear, longtime friend of our group who happens to be here tonight. And he requested this piece for the beautiful woman sitting next to him, his partner. So for Alan Teresa, they've heard this many times on our recordings, they've heard it on our Zooms, but they've never heard it live. So this is for you. Alan Teresa, Boca de Fresa. So there were many great commissions that came out of the pandemic that Emmanuel wrote. One of them comes with a story, which I am going to read to you. This was a woman, a friend of ours in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, sent this story to Emmanuel and said, I have this dream over and over. I know it's about my life. I'm hoping that it will inspire you to write some beautiful music. It certainly did. Here, excuse me. Here is what she wrote. Now you have to imagine you're not in Ann Arbor. You're in New Mexico. And there are canyons and colors, red colors, and lots of rocks. The high country. And this is the winter cowboy. There was not a word from him, the winter cowboy, the one who wrapped me in blankets when we rode in from the storm. I was frozen. I was bruised, and he gave me shelter. All winter we warmed our skin by the firelight of campfires. Our horses blew the steam of their breath in the cold night. Inside our canvas home, we glowed with love and with pleasure. It's him, I thought. He's my sunrise, he's my sunset. I glowed warm like a diamond. 2 years of seasons in the high desert of the heart. And then one day, he came to me and he said, I don't want to see you anymore. Things are tough. Just don't try to get in touch with me. I saddled my sorrel horse and I took off running. We galloped to the edge of the precipice and we jumped to try to reach the other side of the canyon. My heart ripped open. It was like a canyon filled with blood and with sun. Between the walls of my heart, the echo of love hit from one side to the other. The blackbirds flew by like big rocks as we leaped. The sun was hot pink, glowing at the mouth of the canyon. I lost myself. I did not know if the day was beginning or ending. You might wonder if my horse and I ever reached the other side of that canyon. I'd like to think we did, but it's too soon to tell. El eco de tu amor. He gets a break after that. So they say that tango is life 3 minutes at a time. Sometimes it's a party, like Nocturna that we just played. Sometimes it's a heartbreak, like the breakup song. And sometimes it's something even more serious. It's something global. And this next piece that we're playing is another commission that was given to Emmanuel by a good friend of ours in Washington, a violinist, Jackie Anderson. And she asked Emmanuel to write a tango about the war in Ukraine. It sounds impossible, right? It sounds impossible. But somehow he managed to do it. And in this Luna Roja, the piece we're about to play, you will hear bits of Ukrainian countryside. You'll hear a reference to the great violinists that came from Odessa. You'll hear the tragedy. And somehow in playing this piece, we hope that you will all keep in mind that we need to keep reminding ourselves that this is going on. We can't forget about it. Luna Roja. I just want to say, hi, Monica. I'm so sorry you're not here. She's home with COVID and watching. So I want to thank her so much for inviting us tonight. And I also want to thank Ken Fisher, who's the one who actually got her to invite us. So that's even, hooray for Ken and Penny, who are, I know they're friends of so many of you. Also thanks to Abby, who was our host tonight, and Kelman, who did our sound. This is such a wonderful room, and you all are an incredible audience. I want you all to get on our mail list. Because when we come back to Michigan, we want to see you again, and we will come back to Michigan because we are kind of a family. You know, the tango community is very close. You're all welcome to join. And after being together, even for a short time, like we've been tonight, we start feeling that we are part of a community. And so we're going to share with you something that was a very difficult thing for us this year. And I'm sharing it because sometimes if you have the courage to share the things that are painful for you, it helps someone else. Maybe someone out there has gone through something like this, and just hearing the music that comes out of this will help you, and you will be able to do the same for someone else. So in November, our bandoneon player was diagnosed with lymphoma. And this was like, of course it was the worst for him, but it was terrible for us because we are a very close-knit group and we all suffered terribly. Now, he went to NIH, which was the good news, got great care. And when he was there, he discovered a piano in the hallway. Probably hadn't been played for years, but he's a musician, and we musicians process our pain with music. And so every chance he got, he would sit down at this piano and he would work on a piece that he called Vida, or Life. And this piece, you will hear all the sounds of the hospital. You'll hear all the fears, all the hopes, all the unknown that awaits all of us, but maybe in a much more concentrated feeling if you're in his situation in the hallways of NIH. So here it is, Emma's beautiful Vida.